Tong launches a 1000-watt torque sensor motor. Tong has released a 1000-watt torque sensor motor. We had previously reviewed the 750-watt version of this motor. Today, the 1000-watt version is here. As Bufang Killer, the motor we reviewed before now seems to have set its sights on European motors as its target. Let's jump right into the product review. Box contents. Let's clarify right away. This is a conversion kit. You apply this kit to your own bicycle. So, before you start riding, you need to install the motor onto your bike. Of course, along with the motor, the box contains the chainring guard, display speed sensor, throttle, bottom, bracket lockering tool, screws, and all other materials. Today, the bike we will be installing it on is a 1x9 speed, 27.5-inch wheel model. Installation! We will need the pedals. So, I start by removing the pedals using a 50mm wrench. Next up is removing the bottom bracket. If you have a bike with a Helotech bottom bracket, you're in luck. You can use the bottom bracket tool that comes with the set. But if you have a bike with a square taper bottom bracket, you'll need a crank puller tool and a few more items. We demonstrated the removal of a square taper in the 750-watt conversion kit review. If you're using a square taper, you can check out that video if you like. The bicycle frame is now ready for assembly. Now, let's prepare the motor by assembling it with the First, I screw the chainring guard onto the chainring. Then, I attach the chainring to the motor. There we go. The motor is starting to show itself. It's a 6-kilogram motor and looks quite imposing. I carefully place the motor onto the axle housing and lean it against the upper frame, because the moment the motor starts working, it will naturally press against the frame anyway. I immediately put the chain back on. After attaching the left side support bracket, I install the motor's lock nut. I tighten the lock nut by hand. I can now see the motor in its final form. While doing the final tightening with the bottom bracket tool, I pull the motor towards myself again, pressing it firmly against the frame. And with my other hand, using the tool for leverage against the frame, I tighten it securely to lock it in place. Finally, I attach the cap and tighten it using the other side of the bottom bracket tool, completing the motor installation. What remains is mounting the battery tray, installing the display, securing the throttle, and making the cable connections. Let's go through these parts a bit quickly because we've explained them before. As I said, those who want to see it again can watch the 750-watt video in detail. Here I just want to mention the speed sensor installation again. You need to align the magnet with the arrow-marked area on the speed sensor. Also, the magnet shouldn't be too close or too far. This distance I've marked with the green arrow is the ideal distance. After tidying up and securing the other cables, the installation is complete. Now, we can turn on the system, check the speed sensor, and see if the gears are working. Yes, everything is great. The gears didn't cross-chain. I can shift smoothly from 1 to 9 without any issues. Let's tidy up the area and finally head out for a test ride. Torque sensor and off-road use. Now, of course, we're curious about the motor's performance, but honestly, we're even more curious about the torque sensor's response time and sensitivity. The motor engages even before the pedal completes a quarter turn, maybe even at the initial moment of movement. And you can see this from the rear wheel spinning out. With the throttle, there's still a small delay before engagement. This was also present in Tong's previous version. It's to prevent any accidents because these motors are really powerful. There's a few milliseconds of delay programmed into the throttle. Of course, immediately afterward, you take off with a sudden burst of acceleration. We have a 4.4T chainring and currently a 4.2T rear sprocket. Because of this, we can transfer all of the motor's torque to the wheel. You can easily climb 50%, 60%, even 70% inclines with this gear ratio provided. You can manage to stay on the bike. On-road experience. Now, on to the asphalt. On asphalt, the motor can accelerate very quickly up to about 50 kilometers per hour. After that, it continues to gain speed. But there is a limiter at 60 kilometers per hour. If you want to remove this limit, you can use a small trick in the display settings to make it exceed 60 kilometers per hour and reach highway speeds. Of course, we don't recommend this. We're just mentioning it for information. In the city, hill performance certainly won't be a point where you'll have trouble. On asphalt, you never encounter climbs as steep as off in the city. We see a maximum of 40 to 45% grades, and the motor can easily and quickly climb these hills even in third or fourth gear without needing the first gear. At the end of the day, we can say that Tongsheng has produced a motor that can be used with great pleasure both on dirt terrain and asphalt. Whether you want it for cardio purposes or purely for adrenaline, the motor offers you the possibility to use it however you wish. Frankly, we're left wanting more. We'll end the video here. Let us continue riding. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Yeah, if this story resonated with you, please subscribe, like, share, and comment below with a logo image. Your thoughts encourage the creation of more stories like this. Thank you for listening. Until next time.